Hey team, just Mrs. Beecham here with another video. In my previous video I talked about going from or converting from a percentage to a fraction, and this video I'm going to go the other way. So I have a fraction and I'm going to convert it to a percentage. So I'm going to make two videos on this topic. This video is when we are using equivalent fractions to help us out. Okay, so our knowledge of equivalent fractions. The other video I'm going to make is a little bit different. I'll leave all my explanation of that for that time. So these situations when we're using these equivalent fractions to help us, or our knowledge of equivalent fractions, is when it is a little easier to make our denominator into 100, okay, by a simple multiplication. And then I can easily express it as a percentage. So as soon as your denominator is made into 100, your percentage is the numerator of that fraction. So this one here, we actually don't need to convert anything, this first one. Our denominator is already 100, so our percentage is literally just writing the numerator, because 5 out of 100, remember we said percentage is the same as out of 100, so that is just 5%. 5 over 100, 5%. So that's really easy. Now, this second one here is out of 25. Now I can't express that as a percentage yet because our percentage has to be out of 100, okay? So I need to find an equivalent fraction that will get me to having a denominator of 100 by multiplying. Okay, so let's just quickly recap. When we're talking about equivalent fractions, we're talking about changing the numerator and the denominator of a fraction so that it has the same value, but the numbers are different. So a quick recap, 1/2 is the same as 2/4. They are equivalent fractions. I'm doing the same thing, but my equivalent fraction, I'm trying to get it to have a denominator of 100, because that means that it's a percentage then. Okay? So you're going to hear me say this phrase a lot when we're talking about fractions and percentages. What have I done to my numerator, or what can I do to my numerator and my denominator to get it to 100 over 100? So if I want my denominator to be 100, what have I done to 25 to turn it to 100? I've times by 4. And our golden rule with fractions and equivalent fractions particularly is whatever I do to 1/2 of the fraction, I've got to do to the other. So whatever I do to my denominator, I've got to do to my numerator, and same. Okay? So if I've times by 4 here, I've got to times by 4 up the top as well. Okay, so 11 times by 4, 44. Okay? So these two fractions are equivalent to each other. They have the same value. Okay, but they're different numbers. Now, because my denominator is now over 100, because my numerator is now over 100, that means all I need to do to show it is a percent is write the numerator down with the percentage sign. Okay? Rightio, I've got one down the bottom here. Hopefully you didn't see the answer just now. But I might do this one with you and then I'll give you another example actually. So I'm looking at what have I done, what am I trying to do to my numerator? What have I done to my denominator to turn it to 100? I've times it by 5. So that means I have to times my numerator by 5 because I've done the same thing on the bottom. Okay? So that means 11 times 5 is 55. So that means my percentage is 55. Okay? I've accidentally done that twice down there. There you go. Same working. Okay, I'm going to give you two examples now of your own, and I'd like you to pause the video and have a try yourself. So the first one, I'll move it down a little bit. Let's say 8 over 25 and let's call that C. And then my second one, let's see, 42 over 50. So again, I'm asking you to convert these fractions to percentages. All right, pause the video now and have a crack. Okay, so I'm trying to get my number to be a percentage. To do that, I have to have a denominator of 100. So what have I done to 25 to turn it to 100? I have times it by 4. And that means I must time my numerator by 4. So 8 times 4 is 32. So that means my percentage is 32%. All right, over here, what have I done to 50 to turn it to 100? I've multiplied it by 2. And so that means I have to multiply my numerator by 2. So that makes it 84. So that would equal 84%. Done.